Thanks, John. I'll try to be quick. Ever since I had senior attached to my title, I need to pee more frequently than I used to. It's only been a week. I don't know if it's a mental thing or not, but... So this is just the lay of the land for fixed wing in Alberta. There's 10 bases, 11 aircraft. They do the entire breadth of mission profile, from the very stable and scheduled to the critical patient. Transport about 7,000 patients a year. And by most people's estimation, roughly about 800 to 1,000 would be considered critical, either intubated or on pressors, kind of ICU worthy. We just came through, this is the innovations talk. So the innovation here is we just came through contract negotiations, an RFP for the next 10 years. Everything above the south, Medicine Hat and Calgary, are still direct delivery fixed wing services, which are still actually connected to their ground service, which has its issues because that's a lot of medics who are expected to be providing fairly specialized care. So there's the issue there. Everything north of that is contracted. So by far most of our bases are delivered by two contractors who have all those bases, Edmonton and north. Alberta Health Services is responsible for managing and overseeing them, and obviously we work very closely with those contractors. They're not at all out at arm's length at all, but those are contract services, and all of our aviation pilots, etc., is all contracted as well too throughout the entire province. When we went through RFP, we wanted to pick aircraft that would allow us to try to excel at both spectrums of the patient profile, as opposed to having all planes doing the same thing, transporting both sick and non-sick patients. We decided to set ourselves up so in the future we'd be able to sort of be very efficient with the low end of the acuity spectrum and very skilled at the high end of the acuity spectrum. So we have most of our fleet are King Air 250s. We have all brand new aircraft, which is pretty cool. Every plane in the system now is new. A number of our King Air 250s have a narrow door, and these are going to be configured to take multiple patients. So including a number that could be walk-on and sitting, or two stretchered non-critical patients. But these are going to be designed to help us maximize the efficiency of our scheduled and low acuity patients. Our wide door King Air 250s are going to be used for our critical care patients for the most part, less hinges, etc., for lines and tubes to get caught on and pulled out, and they are configured really just to have a specific airway seat and really only take one stretchered patient. And then in Edmonton, we have a King Air 350, which we thought opens up opportunities for ECMO transports and stuff. We do very few of those, and it's just partly because our CV, our cardiovascular colleagues don't really have a system to fly patients out and actually do that. Pediatrics do that, but we really don't do adult ECMO cases, but we have the vehicle now to do it if they wanted to do that. This is also going to be our primary I didn't mean that, but this is going to be our, there is no app for that. This is going to be our primary bariatric aircraft. You can use it with the large door as well too, but you could put a big person in a 350. And that's what the interior of that one looks like. In an effort to improve efficiency for low acuity and scheduled patients, when we moved our primary base of operations to the Edmonton International Airport, my executive director, had this idea of having a patient transition room, and this has really been brilliant actually. So at our hangar at the Edmonton International Airport, just off the hangar, we have a 6-bed patient transition room at the airport. And this is staffed by paramedics, and it's not meant at all to be an ICU. This is literally people, looking at iPads, reading the news while they're waiting for their ground ambulance transport into the city. But this allows us to put multiple patients in there waiting for their scheduled cath, for example. And it just really gives a lot more wiggle room in coordination for scheduled transports. It also has come in handy in an unanticipated way, for example, during the Fort McMurray fire evacuation. We did put physicians there, and we did actually have some fairly sick patients there. But it allows sort of a buffer area for the second leg, the next leg, the ground leg from the airport into the city. So we did a trial with two airplane slash, like this is like the airplane bus. This were scheduled transports. We let all the hospitals in the region know that it would, leave Peace River at 0800, it would be in Grand Prairie at 0900, it would leave there, it would go to Hinton, and then it would go to Edmonton. And if you had a scheduled patient, as long as you could let the dispatch know about it 24 hours in advance, we would pick that patient up and bring it in. So just a trial of truly only low acuity scheduled patient transports. These were successful both by a metrics perspective, and actually the contractors really found it a very helpful way to, one, initiate new medics to the world of air ambulance, and also to de-escalate some of the heavy experiences that some of the other medics, that the medics were experiencing. So they would have their flight medics have a very heavy couple of days, and they just needed a break. They were strained, or they had a very heavy case, and they would put them on the sched run for a couple days. And they actually found that flexibility was fantastic. And you're always home for dinner on this sched run. What else? I mean, one of the main metrics that we looked at was number of the hours of ground ambulance time saved. A lot of these patients would otherwise be transported by ground ambulance, and inevitably it would almost be one ambulance per patient, and it was hundreds of hours per month being saved from ground ambulance time. We're probably not going to do a milk run like that in the future. We're still going to have dedicated planes, but this system that Dennis alluded to, this LOGIS, is an intelligent dispatch system, and it'll probably be able to tell our planes actually where to go. So instead of it going to 3 communities, it'll say, actually, instead of going to Hinton, go to this community because there's 2 scheduled patients there. So instead of the hospitals having to organize a spoke and wheel where they move their scheduled patients to Hinton to get picked up, the intelligent dispatch system will be able to tell the plane where to go instead, so they won't have to move the patients to other hospitals first. I really hope this works. There's a lot of problems or areas to work on within interfacility transport that we're leaning on this intelligent dispatch system to be successful. And so without understanding anything about IT, I just sure hope it works. But this is a screenshot from a LOGIS system, and prior to intelligent dispatch, this would be the cognitive load of a human trying to manage all these cases all at once. And all you need is one change in there, a team that times out or something like that, and everything moves within that. So I don't know how somebody possibly does that, but when we tour dispatch today, we should probably thank them for the work that they do, because that is insane. We are going to get better chart of call information for those of us who do transport physician work. We lean pretty heavily on accurate times that we're given to decide mode of transport, and our current chart of call is a static chart of call. It essentially assumes that every resource is in their base when you're getting the numbers. And of course that's not the case. It's a pretty fluid system. So it will be able to give us much more accurate chart of call information, including things like, for example, if it's if we're looking at ground transport time, it'll take into account that it's an intubated patient. It'll know that you need 2 trucks instead of 1 to do that transport, and it'll include all those times into the chart of call information that the transport physician receives. So we're looking forward to getting way more accurate, real-time, dynamic chart of call information from that system as well too. our patients are coded either as immediate response, yellow is sick, but we have some time to sort of figure out and do a little bit of scheduling. Green is purely scheduled. It can be 24 hours in advance. Blue is a repat. And that coding informs LOGIS as to the urgency of response. With LOGIS coming up board, we've been doing a lot of work with our hospitals, both in city and rural. Website, this is just a screenshot of one of them, but friendly animated graphics, etc., describing how IFT works, what we need the sending hospitals to do in order for all this to be successful for us. And then on the other side of innovation, this is just super fun. We got a airplane fuselage donated to us by one of the colleges, Lakeland College. That is a King Air, yeah. We remodeled the interior of it to make it look like one of our aircraft with colors. And then just for fun, we stuffed it inside of a truck. So that has a hydraulic system within the truck that can simulate takeoff and landing. You can pump in a whole bunch of noise. And there's a couple of our providers inside of it. And like a lot of successes within air ambulance, it's successful because we have a good relationship with STARS. They provide the online content for critical care education now. Alberta Health Services has a tool to deliver it. So that is a mobile high-fidelity sim unit airplane fuselage in a truck that can be driven around the province to hit all of our fixed-wing bases to consolidate some of the online learnings that they've done. This is something we're pretty proud of. This is a screenshot from the website from Alberta Health Services, but this is what the logo of the app looks like. So whether you're on Google Play or iOS, you can just download that for free. And it has MFR protocols, medical control protocols that ground ambulance in Alberta use, and the critical care protocols. And critical care protocols, if you were to just hit print, it would come out to about 900 pages of print, those critical care protocols. There's a lot of information on there. And that's just one screenshot of our new awake intubation protocol. And this is the new version 2.2, which has just come out. I don't think you can bubble wrap children, Dennis. I think that you just have to let them experience life sometimes. So, thanks.